After beating the game 100%, Kirby gets bored of the Forgotten Land. Nothing is exciting anymore, so he decided to beat him and the Forgotten Land without ever walking. Kirby told Waddle Dee about his thoughts. Waddle Dee thinks it is such a meaningful way to spend his life with, so they both started to work on it. First, we have the rules. The rules are simple. Walking is allowed, jumping and hovering is allowed, but we can't move Kirby while doing so. Otherwise, the challenge would be meaningless. Actually, the definition of walking is very blurred. I can hardly find one way to explain the rule in one word. But the fundamental of the challenge is to complete platforming with an alternative way. So there's a gap, and we can't just hover across it. There's a stair, we can't just jump. And anything that ruins the fun of it will be considered breaking the rule. Walking is definitely illegal in the run, but how can we complete this run if walking isn't allowed? In this new 3D Kirby has something called dodge rolling. When Kirby dodge rolls, he moves a great distance and jumps twice. This is a replacement for walking and jumping small platforms, and is the main form of movement we are using throughout the challenge. At the start of the game, we are encountered by a jumping tutorial. There's no big deal with jumping, we are allowed to jump as much as we want to. But the twist is that we aren't able to move Kirby around while he is in air. But if we use dodge rolling, small edges and gaps can be rolled across. Nice! Kirby is really happy about this. The dodge rolling is really helpful. But Kirby is sad when he sees this high grass thingy. Nintendo tells him to hover onto the platform. Hovering isn't a problem, but not moving while doing it. Kirby needs to gain momentum during hovering in order to reach the high ground. The problem is, he stops completely after doing a dodge roll, so jumping after it does nothing to gain him momentum. Well, there's another useful trick Kirby can use. That is sliding. Sliding allows Kirby to gain momentum and perform jumps. But he cannot turn around. His momentum wouldn't help him if he is facing the wrong direction. Pulling the joystick seems to be the only way to turn, but that will make Kirby walk and therefore fail the challenge. There are exceptions though. After you inhale an enemy, pulling joystick up while swallowing it will make Kirby do a 180-degree turn. Now, it should be possible for Kirby to do the hovering tutorial. When Kirby gets his sword on his hand, he is able to perform an upward slash which sends him upwards and most importantly give him momentum. After that, Kirby hovers to gain more height. There is a small window where Kirby gains enough height while he is moving forward. That's how we perform the hover. Not if Kirby do a stupid animation after having a copy ability. If Kirby is looking forward, he will not be able to jump towards the platform. What if we turn around by sliding? Well, that's easy. Sliding, in fact, is the helpful tool we use to change direction of Kirby throughout the run. When Kirby slides towards edges, he won't fall down thanks to some game mechanics, and this can help us adjust our position on small platforms easily. Now with some precise jump, the hover tutorial can be beaten. So far, we are able to climb up ledges and slide jump along our path and make it through to World 2. Kirby can enjoy his swim near the beach peacefully this stage, until he faces this staircase. And this is not a typical staircase. This staircase of evil is filled with sharp and small platforms. Kirby aren't given enough space to perform his previous skill set. I have given this many tries and yet nothing seemed to work. Luckily, Waddle Dee, our second most important hero in the game, comes to the rescue. After messing around with his brain for some time, this happened. Kirby clipped through Waddle Dee's below and landed on the platform. This shines light on the challenge. While the track is hard to perform and requires some luck to be done, the previously unclimbable edges become climbable. But that doesn't mean everything is easy from now. The House of Horror, not so horrifying, features this gap. Kirby's little hand carries limited force to roll Kirby through the gap. If it also can't help him get through it, the momentum ain't enough to send Kirby to the next platform. Sad, this hole requires us to gain enough horizontal momentum to get through, but we are not allowed to hover across it. I wonder what we can do. Nice! It turns out Nintendo already showed us the way through. All we have to do is eat this innocent little guy next to us. With the fire ability, the pink puffball can turn into a red fireball and fly across the gap with ease. Now that we can climb ledges and cross gaps, what else can stop us? Well, the next part of the level is the vending machine. These shiny mouthful things are the literal enemies of unwalkable Kirbys. In fact, we have encountered them already in the previous levels. The first part of 1-1 is fine, until we reach the VLC cone. As Kirby inhales the cone, two gigantic legs are grown under the cone. We can't do dodge roll nor slide, which means Kirby is unable to move in VLC mode. Luckily, we can barely move the cone by inhaling it repeatedly. The cone will move to Kirby's position. And eventually, we make the cone on top of the water pipe. When the cone gets on top of the water flow, I try to split it, then inhale it from the ground. But the water doesn't recognize a Kirby-less cone as an object, and therefore didn't flow it up. I tried for a lot of times, but it didn't seem to work. And unfortunately, the challenge has to end. Unless we exclude Mouthful mode. When Kirby is in Mouthful mode, his legs are invincible and he is allowed to walk however he wants. Aha! Now we can continue the challenge without any problems. But we don't need to exclude all of the Mouthful modes. In fact, those mouths with no feet on the ground are not considered walking. Like the famous Kirby on the internet, you can see Kirby's leg hanging in the air, so it's not really a problem. And also the Kirby Glider or the Kirby Roller Coaster. So we are not ruining the challenge completely. The next challenge awaits us. The 4-1 staircase. In this session, we have to climb stairs to get to the top. After moving the stair with Mouthful mode walk exclusion, we need to climb the stairs. In fact, in 1-2, we've already climbed similar stairs. We simply slide jump diagonally precisely on each stair to jump to the top. Well, haven't we already climbed stairs in 1-2? Then why is this different? In 1-2, the stair is placed right next to the wall, so we don't have to care about falling down. Kirby can't climb through the small stairs without a tool, either a wall or Waddle Dee. In fact, we can jump over literally any walls with the orange Goomba's help, so jumping vertically is not a problem anymore. Until there's another problem. The Death Pit of Ice, and there's a big Ice Pit of Death. In 4-2, Kirby finds himself surrounded by ice waters. Kirby freezes when touches ice water, and when he is freezed, he can't swim. When he can't swim, he can't get across gaps, like this one. Kirby can't cross the gap even with the fire ability. If only we can gain some height. Nintendo is good as they helped us yet again. Thanks Nintendo. So right before the pit of death icy water, there's a cone. And that cone is actually an icebreaker. After breaking the ice near the icy death pit of water, Kirby is introduced to a secret area. There, Kirby can ride the water fountain up to a place with nice views. What's better is that now Kirby can fireball himself across the pit of icy death easily. Nice! Mouthful is surely a disaster. From the ice street to the ice cave, there are a lot of difficult challenges. In 4-3, the first section is just some winds that do nothing. Then a Mouthful mode that no one cares about. Then is a huge gap that leads to a staircase. Offering to the staircase isn't really a problem, but climbing the staircase is. We can get over the first step pretty easily with a slide jump, but not quite with the second one. Guess what? Let's call our Waddle Dee. We can't do the staircase trick again this time, as the stair is too weird and lining up Kirby and Goomba is almost impossible. Unless Waddle Dee not only is a jump supporter, but also has the ability to grab stuff. He is surprisingly a better slide jumper thanks to his trusty spear on his hand. When he slide jumps, his spear automatically gains him horizontal momentum while launching him into the air. By using Waddle Dee's spear jump, he can actually get through the whole staircase and reach the goal. Cool! Kirby has already walked through a big part of the Forgotten Land without walking. Kirby go to the final fire level and beat up some bosses for fun. The bosses are weak, but there is something much more dangerous. The isolated platform. I don't know why Nintendo made this platform, but Kirby surely gets into trouble. He can't slide over as the platform is too far away. Waddle Dee also can't give help to Kirby. Oh, actually he can. That's easy. The challenge is complete. Yay! This is actually very easy. Easy. Even though the run is called walkless, Kirby walked. Every time he swallows a mouthful thing, he walks and we pretend we never saw that. A walk is a walk. This one can't be called a walkless run if Kirby ever walked once, even if we exclude mouthful walking. But what should we do? Here are all the levels where mouthful mode are compulsory to be used. So after I marked down all the levels I failed to get through, I revisited them to unwalk them. In the first level, we are facing the problem we faced before, but this time, we are filled with much more determination to beat this level walkless. So I poured my patience and time into the game. To my surprise, everything seemed to be a lot easier than before. The adventure that we've gone through had made us into a more experienced Kirby walkless player. What I did is, first, position the cone near the pipe while Kirby is sitting on it, suck it up, then boom, water. Kirby can't swim with the cone, so we bring in some help. Waddle Dee. He's good at pushing Mouthful Kirby around when the ink shape doesn't want to walk on his own. After some pushing, Kirby can get on the platform nicely. Now we just have to destroy this stupid turtle with the cone while dodging the stupid turtle. The water fountain is too low for Waddle Dee to push Kirby onto the platform. Time to use an OP glitch called Mouthful Storage. By inhaling and taking damage at the same frame, the mouthful item is magically stored inside Kirby's mouth. This glitch takes a big part of the run, so hopefully it wouldn't be patched out. Please Nintendo. Now just get onto the turtle, inhale again, and kill the turtle. Nice! This turtle killing motivates us to proceed and unlock all the other mouthful modes. Just at the next level, we encounter the stairs. It is impossible to move the stairs horizontally by sucking and vomiting. Without the stairs, we can't pass the stealthily blocking blocks. Or can we? Turns out, what we need is a fire ability and some skills. Roll down the pit, offer. Fireball. Neat. Now this level is done. Or not. Here, the fire ability can't gain us height. And the stair is too far away from the platform. There is no way to carry the stairs to the platform as the stopping signs stop us from doing so. It turns out, all we need to do is the same thing as before. Well, not Mouthful Storage. Stair is too heavy, and Mouthful Storaging it just warps Kirby way back to the stair. Instead, put the stair, format the stair to the rightmost place. Jump on the stair with some slide hopping. Now we do the exact same thing we did before, twice. And the level is done. We are really making progress over here. World 2 is too easy, so we are at the theme park now. The theme park is well known for its machine games. And there's many mods when there is machines. So we need to use waters to clean them. The problem is, when Kirby is water, he can't walk. Fortunately, this problem can be easily solved with the Kirby pusher, Waddle Dee. Our friend can push us from the pipe to the stairs where we need to clean up. Maybe he needs some time to do so. Finally, we can proceed. Until there's another one. But we just need to do the exact same thing here. Destroy some expensive airplanes with water and we are good to go. Good job, Waddle Dee. Sorry, Waddle Dee. This is the last time, I promise. Waddle Dee must push Kirby to a very precise position where Kirby can barely shoot the mud on the fountain. Yay, Fountain of Victory! Waddle Dee really did a nice job here. Remember to like this video to support him. After some intense pushing, it's time to relax and go to the horror House of Invasion. It is dark in the House of Invasion. It isn't much of a problem since we can memorize the level layout. The last part though forces Kirby to become a light bulb. It's fine as we can move a mouthful object slowly. Then here comes a timer part, which is just skill problems, we can handle that. Just for not so long, we face yet another problem. The hot cardboards. These cardboards are not ordinary cardboards. They don't move out. like some annoying kids blocking our way. It seems like vending machine is the only thing that can destroy them. Formatting it to the monster is possible, but using it to shoot them is not. As Kirby stupidly faces the camera every time he swallows the vending machine. There is no possible way he can shoot cans towards the crabs, unless we bounce. The can shot out from Kirby's vending mouth is made of bouncy materials. We can use the shiny blocks as walls to reflect cans from Kirby's mouth to the crabs. If there is enough range, of course. The problem with this one is that Kirby is not directly facing towards the light balls. So, if we let Kirby stuck the vending machine in the middle, he faces the camera, which is directly in front of him, and let Waddle Dee pushes Kirby just to the light balls. Kirby can now shoot his cans to the crabs. Nice. We now only need to abandon the vending machine and move on. Moving on to the Frost Street of Northeast, we have this pretty familiar staircase. Climbing up this building is getting harder as we can't move the stair around. It turns out the staircase doesn't need to move around. All we need is fire and a jumping Kirby. After Kirby climbed up on the stair, he can jump and fireball himself to the staircase. For the second one, we can format the stair to the right so Kirby can get just enough distance to fireball to the yellow stair. This is relatively easy. And we can move on to the metro, the pit of icy depth of water. For this one, I really get a lot of headache. So what we need here is the fire or drill ability and lots of height, like a lot. And we can only get to such a high place with the cone mouth. The only way to move the cone to the hole without walking is by the mouth storage glitch. So we keep trying. Sadly, we just can't get this glitch to work. We positioned ourselves very carefully to let this bomb kid hit us with bombs when we eat the cone. It just didn't work. It doesn't need to work. We later found out that all we have to do is jump and fireball ourselves to the next platform. I guess we got Brainfreeze when trying to get past the icy water. Just jump and fireball. Simple enough. Going to the next level, 4-4, we gotta ride the boat, which means getting the ring in the big hole. Getting the ring out of the hole is not that hard. All we gotta do is inhale, spit, swallow, vomit. Then we get into the boat and peacefully break through stuff until we reach the end of the boat section. How do we get out of the boat? We cannot spit the ring out, nor walk out of the boat. Jumping doesn't help in any way either. The ring's position is just synced to the boat. By the way, even Waddle Dee can't get out of the boat. He's somehow just stuck inside the boat no matter what. That is just impossible to do. Why do I feel like this is just like some no jump challenge? Well, if you have any idea to bypass walking at this section, we'll be very happy to know. Now, let's just pretend Kirby didn't walk as the instruction says, toward land. The supermarket, the mall, has lots of mouthful modes, which is unnecessary for passing the level. All we need to care about is the ice cream as the last of the level. We need to perform these tricks to first get our cone on this cycling platform. Second, get the ice cream on the table. And 3, somehow jump on the blue thingy. We can't jump on the blue thingy. Plan B. We position Kirby carefully so that Kirby is facing the left.
gently ask Waddle Dee to help us push Kirby to the table on the left side. When Kirby is in the correct position, he is able to jump onto the table on his own by clipping between the blue thingy and the table. Now that Kirby is facing left and on the table, he can jump and vomit the cone onto the platform. Bruh. Plan C.
We play with the Shromeone and glitch the cone onto the blue thingy. Shromeone is annoying, but we managed to beat this level. Heading to another dark level, Moonlight Canyon. We just slide and slide and slide, throw Waddle Dee into the pit a couple times for direction and we're good. So, with some Waddle Dee pushing and fireballing around, we actually make it pretty far with just one level left. And we still haven't even walked once. If you don't count that 2-land joystick push, of course. Now, we are at the last Mouthful level of all, the Beast Pack's final stand. 6 Mouthful items are awaiting Kirby with a evil smile. Car, water, vending machine, ring, fly, and cone. Now, let's just ignore car and fly cause they don't walk, but the others are disasters. First, we reach the water section. When we inhale the water, Kirby is facing backward to the screen thanks to the 100-degree camera flip. Waddle Dee can do less pushing as Kirby can vomit water to the purple frog sooner. If we lose all water and we inhale the water tank, Kirby's gonna face toward the camera, which is not what we want. So this attempt is very precious. There's a long way to go with the water mouth even if we walk, but we can't walk. Let's just play the time lapse of Waddle Dee pushing Kirby mouth for 6.420 centiseconds. Okay, that's really sad for Waddle Dee, but he managed to do it. Next, we have the vending machine. Just ignore it, as it is totally unnecessary. After ignoring the vending machine, we rode to the swimming section of the level. It's very easy, just throw or vomit the ring onto the boat and start killing crocodiles. This time, we don't even need to toward land as a rising platform destroys our boat. Cool. Actually, this level is just annoying, not so hard, right? After enjoying the Kirby air ride, we land on the territory of the Fire Rock Turtle. The evil rock turtle trapped our beloved golden gull caged inside its shell. We must break his stone shell using the Mouthful cone, just like how we destroyed the stone shell back in the first level. But this turtle is not that simple to destroy. It is protected by many things. First, we need to bring the cone from the rock platform on the right to the water pipe on left. We are already expert at transporting mouthful things by vomiting them, but this time, we can't really do that. The Firestone Turtle is protected by these falling platforms. Once Kirby set his foot on the platform, they drop. A dropping platform means we have to jump over it fast. Vomiting items is not a fast way to transport them, so we'll need to use the glitch again. The small turtle head is annoying as he likes letting his turtle head out randomly. But by letting Waddle Dee stand on his shell and comforting him, Kirby can roll onto his head with ease and perform this glitch. Now that we are on top of the big pillar, we can jump onto the small pillar and spear the big rock fire turtle to death. Oh, we can't do that. The only way to get onto the small pillar is by using a normal Kirby, so we need to vomit the cone out. Nintendo doesn't like vomiting, at least on this platform. We have to move Kirby out of this platform so that he can vomit the cone out and jump on the small pillar. I'm already tired, but we are not done yet. The small pillar are unwilling to fall down unless you are using a cone, but we can't get to the small pillar when using the cone. Time to use the glitch again. Finally, we can spear this turtle into death. Or not. As I said, this turtle is protected by lots of things. As the pillar is falling, one single jump is required to get onto the turtle, and we can't move when we jump, so we basically just jump into the lava. We can't land on the corner of the rock turtle, nor spawning Kirby onto the stone. We can't fly onto the turtle before the small pillar falls, as this turtle is protected by invincible walls all around him. So, after killing the first stone turtle in the first level, I'm filled with hope that this challenge can be done also in Mouthful mode. But in turns, 2 walks are required to beat this game. The boat in ice and the turtle in fire. Like, this turtle really ruined this challenge at the last second. Maybe I will play some turtle killing montage to get better. Now I'm better. Even though we have walked twice in the entire game of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, we tried hard, very hard in doing so, and that's what matters. Along the way, we find out new tricks and ways to get through challenges, spending hours trying to move without walking. Hopefully you can be a helpful helping hand and give us a hand on this challenge. Is there a way to kill the fire turtle without walking? Let's discuss in the YouTube comment section and help Kirby fulfill his dream. Also like this video for supporting Waddle Dee pushing Kirby in half of the challenge if you enjoyed the video. Waddle Dee wants to say goodbye, but he doesn't have a mouth.